Hey guys, DK here with Collector's Impact, and today this is kind of a follow-up to the video that I made about the price increases from PSA, in a way, because I actually went ahead and did my very first Cgc submission. And this submission is kind of it's a test submission, in a sense. I've never done cards with Cgc. I sent in some comic books. I joined a couple months ago. I sent in some comics, and they're not even back yet. I'll do the reveal for the comic books when they come in the mail, but with everything that's going on with PSA, I really wanted to go ahead and try this out. So I'm gonna thumb through the cards. There's 75 cards that I submitted, and as I'm doing that, I'll tell you some background on the whole process with Cgc, my experience so far, and my thoughts on the whole thing. So this is actually the first Cgc card, the first and only Cgc graded card that I have, and yeah, whoop-de-doo, Basil, it's a 4.5. Very good, excellent plus, apparently, of this Dark Charizard. I don't personally agree with the grade, but that's whatever. I mean, it's a lower grade Pokemon card. It's still a first edition foil Dark Charizard in English, so it's not, you know, nothing to shake a stick at, really. It's a nice card, in my opinion, at least. Anyway, so it's going to have a lot of friends joining it soon. So the first one here, I tried to put them in order. Half of it is Pokemon, the other half is Magic, and I start with the oldest and go to the newest. So the first card here is just a base set Hitmonchan. And the card is actually kind of warped in a little bit. I mean, it's not perfectly flat. So this is, like I was mentioning earlier, this is kind of an experimental submission. I have cards in here that range from what could be potentially PSA 10s all the way to what could be PSA 1s. So I'm really going to go ahead and just test out their grading scale. And how I chose out these cards, I've actually had them set aside for a while now. Kangaskhan there. None of these are first edition. That's another reason they didn't go to PSA quite yet. And they definitely won't with their price increases now. At $20 a card, it's just not worth it. And you got to wait a year. $20 and wait a year to get your unlimited Zapdos from Fossil. It's just definitely not worth it. Unless you know 100% it's going to be a 10. But yeah, anyway, so I had these cards set aside for a while now, and they all have little imperfections or particular reasons that I didn't want to send them, or just the fact that they're unlimited and not first edition. So that's why they didn't make the initial cuts on my original bulk submissions for PSA. But with CGC, I think it's like the mid-tier membership. I can't remember what they call it, like a silver membership equivalent. So I have that, and with that there's a slight discount on the bulk pricing. So I actually got these for $8.10 a card, as opposed to $20 a card. And believe it or not, with 75 cards, that discount adds up quick. I mean, that's less than half the price, obviously, that PSA would have charged for these. And yeah, considering I've had these for quite a long time, I didn't put a lot of extra money into these particular cards. These are essentially from when I was young and buying and cracking packs of Pokemon. It's worth it for me to send them in and run this experiment. So you can see, so we'll look at these two Laprases here. So one of them, I don't know if you can see it too well on camera, but one of them has a pretty decent scratch on the surface of the card, and the other one doesn't. And one of them, this one here, you can see the back border here. This one is going to get a lower grade because of that. But I am anticipating, I don't know, maybe like somewhere between 6s and 9s, honestly. Some of them obviously are going to be 5s and 4s and stuff. I'll point those out. Some are going to be 1s. Those are going to be really fun, actually. I'm kind of looking forward to seeing what they do with those. Let's see, I've got one base set 2 card here. Good old Alakazam. This one I would estimate to be an 8, honestly. An 8, maybe a 9 if I'm lucky. I mean, some of these are really nice. They're just since CGC doesn't give 10s, right? I mean, they do, so I'll make that correction. And or, you know, obviously they do give 10s, just not often, not like PSA. Since they don't do that anyway, and I can't anticipate getting a CGC 10 on any of these cards. This one has a crease, by the way, so that's probably going to be like a 4 or a 3. But yeah, since they don't do that, that's another motivation for sending in this particular pile of cards. The only ones in here that could have potentially gotten PSA 10s from, you know, from a PSA bulk submission are some of the Japanese cards that are coming up later in here. Everything, because they're pack fresh. They're like pack fresh cards that I sleeved up and put in a notebook and kept them really well for many, many years. They do have some slight bending, as is normal with foil cards, but they're minty, so they could, some of them could get PSA 10, so we'll see if we get a 9.5, or I would be stoked if I even get one CGC 10 out of this lot, to tell you the truth. This one is one of those ones that I'm eager to see how they grade it. This Blastoise here has, that is a well-loved Blastoise. Traded for that one many years ago, probably on a playground or something. I mean, that was... this one, I'm going to estimate a 1 or 2 on it. So it'll be fun to see if they give it higher than that. I don't know if it goes lower than 1. You know, they might do a 0.5. I'm not... You know, if they do a 0.5 or a 0, God, that would be funny. What's your card grade? A 0. That's... Whew. Nah, they can't go lower than 1, right? Whereas this counterpart Blastoise, this one is probably a 6 or 7. It's got some whitening on the edges, a little bit of other wear, but overall that's a solid card. Oh, here's one. This one's my favorite. This is a PSA 1 all day, so I can't wait to see how CGC reacts to this. I mean, look at that thing. Whew. It's... What we used to say about cards like this is they have the measles. Back at the shop, when you get a card like this, that card has the measles. It's so bad. It's like somebody put it on the cement and it like ran over it with a car or stepped on it or something. I mean, this has seen some action. But I bet you it'll look nice in one of those crystal clear cases, right? So I've got some shadowless cards here from base set. None of these are mint, so they probably are on a spectrum from 1 to 7 would be my guess. The nicest condition one is the Magneton that's coming up next. This Chansey is probably a 5. That's a pretty safe bet. Yeah, this Magneton is actually really nice, except for that little imperfection right there is a pretty big one. It's like a chip off of the actual ink or whatever, and it shows the foil underneath. But surprisingly, the card itself is not in bad shape, as you can see. There's not a lot of scratches on the foil. Oh, there's chipping on the bottom of the card too. Yeah, see the little chip on the bottom? So, I don't know. I'm so eager to see how CGC grades these. But yeah, if these come back and I really like the experience, then I'm definitely going to be sending in more cards kind of on this level, where I'm still going to hold and reserve my top-of-the-line cards for PSA, for the moment at least, just because they're still the industry leader. But for like random bulk cards that I was looking to get graded anyway, I think I'm going to go with CGC for a hot minute, guys. That's at least for Pokemon and Magic. I would for the comic book cards too, but they don't do those yet. Only Pokemon and Magic. They don't do sports cards either. So that's kind of a pretty big market that maybe they can tap into that in the future. That would be nice for them. They really could. They're poised right now to be a main competitor to PSA if they want to. If they want to take that title. If they want to take that mantle. You know, they really probably could. They'd have to do a couple of changes. And this would be my proposal. Here's my 2 cents, guys. Tell me if I'm crazy or not, but one of the arguments is that they can't switch to the grading scale where they give like 9s and 10s, kind of like PSA. How the CGC is currently doing like 9.5s mostly, but they could remedy that, in my opinion, by changing the scale and then having like a year-long sale for anybody that has submitted to CGC in the past that has the CGC, because they really just started doing this like a year ago or so, so they're pretty new in the business for this. So they could run a sale that's a year long, and anyone who has any 9.5 graded cards, not 9s, they wouldn't qualify, but 9.5s, could send them in, and you'd only have to pay like shipping and then get them reassessed. And they could reassess them and see if any would qualify as a 10 under the new program, re-slab them for you and send them back and have that special for like a year. And then if you miss that window of opportunity, then you have no right to complain, kind of a deal. I mean, they would email everybody and it would be pretty well known if they ran a promotion like that. But that's just my 2 cents. That's what I personally would propose in a boardroom. So who knows? Maybe that's too cost intensive. Whatever, I'm just brainstorming here, but I think that if they could fix that one situation that they have, or the 2 situations that they have that the public has a bad perception of, the grading scale and the label. This label is just really detracts from the case. I mean, they could really, I don't know. The case itself is gorgeous, I'll tell you that. This case is better looking than PSA, in my opinion, at least, in my humble opinion. I have heard stuff about like some of the cases not being sealed as well, but I think that was only an issue on the earliest ones, and they've since corrected that, at least from all of the reviews that I've seen. And this Magneton is from base set from 1996. It does have the rarity symbol, so it's not the first edition, unfortunately. Otherwise, it would be worth a lot of money. So this is the regular one from base, and this is pack fresh. The only issue with this card is this thing in the foil. I'm not sure if that detracts from it or not. It's not technically a print line because it doesn't run through the whole thing. It's just kind of a weird blip in the foil pattern. So this has potential to be at least a 9.5 for sure. So does this. This Eevee is mint condition from Jungle. Mint condition Pikachu. Definitely chose out mostly minty Japanese cards. This Nidoqueen has a very slight bit of warping, but overall it's solid. Very, very solid. Good old Scyther. I did have 4 of these, right? So I sent 2 to PSA in the past. I still haven't gotten them back. They've been there for almost a year. And I'm sending these, and it would be kind of funny if they got to me both at the same time. That's the other thing about this. Supposedly, their turnaround time for CGC is a lot faster. So I'm anticipating a 4 to 5 month wait period on this order versus a year to a year and a half with PSA. So that would really be worth it right there, in my opinion. I mean, getting them back faster and the cheaper submission, even though the cards don't go for as much on the secondary market, they still, those 2 things are a huge benefit, and especially since I'm sending in cards that I'm not expecting to get the highest grades on for the most part, it makes for the perfect scenario for this test, in my opinion. I mean, why not? After I was evaluating it and I realized, you know, I'm already a member of CGC, I've already done the comic book thing, I might as well try them out for their cards and see firsthand the full experience. So this right here, this 2-headed giant from beta, this is a reserve list card, so it's actually, you know, a reserve list rare card from beta, so it would be worth a bunch more money, but it qualifies for bulk because it is really beat. You could probably see these ripples. I mean, there's a lot of reflection here, but those ripples are actually like an indication of damage on the card or bending of the card or whatever. It isn't super damaged as it's not ripped or anything, but it's definitely, it's well loved. I would estimate this would get a PSA 1 or 2, a 2 at best, so definitely want to see if CGC gives it that 1 or 2, or if it gets a 3 or 4. Just because I had kind of a bad experience with this card already. This one is, 4.5, but it has a crease in it. See if it'll come up on the camera. And it's actually like kind of a bad crease. I'm trying to see, man, it's so much reflection. Yeah, I think you can see it here. So it runs all the way through the card. So this would be a PSA 2. I'm not sure exactly when this card was graded in terms of their when they started the business and now, because it's only been a little while. So this could have been one of the early cards that was graded, and therefore it had a little bit more lenient grader. I don't know, but I want to see if this is an anomaly or if this is going to get like a 4. So, I don't know. I think that could definitely be one of the reasons that the CGC cards are not going for as much as PSA on the market at the moment, as a general rule, because of inconsistencies like that. But at the same time, the higher grades are pretty dang consistent, so I'll try it out. This other Magic card, this Natural Selection, is another one that's reserve list from Unlimited. It is worth a pretty penny in mint condition, but this one has a terrible alignment issue, and the card itself is just not in the best of condition. So this one would deservingly, could earn a 4. That wouldn't be a stretch, PSA 4, so if they give it a 4 or 5, that'd be great. This right here is a common card. It's a common, but it is pack mint condition from the Dark. So it's from 1994, yeah, 1994, I believe. So it's a decent old vintage card, and honestly, that artwork is just some of my favorite from the Dark. So in a good grade, could be a pretty good flip. Now this right here, a Kundu Cyclopses, or just Cyclops, it's not multiple. So this this card is super weird. We used to, back at the card shop that I used to manage, this was one of those cards that we kept in the showcase just as an example of bizarre art. So if you guys know of any Magic card that has more bizarre art than this, let me know, because this takes the cake. So he's got, like, there's a lot of symbolism going on here, okay? You got these 2 moons, two balls, we'll say, 2 round spheres in the sky. So, and then you've got this giant mushroom with quite a questionable mushroom situation going on there, and then you've got whatever this, I don't know if that's a mythical creature or just a bizarre looking lady, and there's 2 other mushrooms sprouting from the larger mushroom in a questionable manner, and this creature, the creature is just questionable to the extreme. I mean, look at its you see that card. Wow, what a weird artwork. So I don't know if anyone is ever going to pick up on this, and this card could maybe become like a valuable card in the future, because it isn't worth a lot right now, and I need to start buying some of them. They're not reserve list though, so they could reprint it, but if they do, I highly doubt they'd ever use that artwork again. And then this is some tests to see how they handle misprints and whatnot. So here's a Wall of Ice from 4th edition. This is actually pack fresh. I mean, it's got like a little teeny nick on it, but it's mostly, it's pretty minty, or near mint plus plus or whatever, but it has alpha corners. So that was a weird anomaly that happened during the day of the 4th edition printings. It's very rare, but some of the cards were cut with the alpha cutting machine. How? I don't know, because they didn't use that border since alpha, so why all of a sudden it got stuck with some of the 4th edition cards? I don't know, but they're pretty rare and valuable because of that, especially in a high grade. So I put that in the description while doing the submission. So that would be, I want to see. And here's another example of an error card that I want to see how they handle. So here's a Foil Rocks, and it has a crimp in the card from where the machine actually it sealed it up in there in the booster pack, or the special. I think that this came in like a starter pack with like a CD, or maybe it didn't have a CD, but it was a starter pack, and it came in one of those like clear foil packs that the promos come in sometimes, and they sealed that pack on the card. So that is legit machine done, and that can be a pretty rare type of defect in a card for it to actually go out the door and be in a product that's consumed on the end there by the customer. It's pretty rare. So I put that in the notes as well. And then this one here is it's a miscut, misaligned card, but it's to the point where it does qualify as a defect card, because you can tell the difference between cards that were printed out of alignment and they just qualify as an off-center print versus an actual miscut from a key thing, especially on Wizards cards. In the corner here, there's a little dot. There's a little teeny silver dot right here in the corner. It might not show up too well on camera, but there, I put my finger on it, you can see it a little better. That little dot is a guideline on the printer. I don't think it's on the other side, but it's on this side. It's a guideline on the printer sheet for where the where the slicing machine is supposed to cut. It's not supposed to be on the card. So that definitely makes it an error card, and can be quite valuable because of that. This one is kind of borderline. I think does it have? Yeah, it's got the little dot there. It's a little more faint than the other one. But these are two miscut cards that were foil from Onslaught, which foils were super rare back in those days. You only got like a handful in a box. It's not like today where they're everywhere. Speaking of which, this one is from Kaldheim, and I've got 3 of these lands. It's those like Moses splitting the sea, full art, tide channel pathway, tide channel, or bark channel pathways. These double lands. So I got 3 of those. And, oh yeah, for the submission system for CGC, it's actually, since it's the first time I've done the cards, it's actually really, really nice. I will tell you that it is a lot more streamlined than PSA's system, which is nice. I mean, it auto-fills in a lot of details when you put in the name, you select the name, and you put in the set number. Then it pulls up all the rest of the details, the year, the set information, all that kind of stuff, and it auto-populates unless the system doesn't have it. And if it doesn't have it, then it's kind of annoying because you do have to fill in all the info and you wonder if they're going to get it right or not. But here's 3 of those Walking Dead Michonne cards, and here's 3 Daryls. I actually bought these like right when the set came out. You know, that had so much controversy around it and whatnot, and these were actually very affordable when it first came out. I don't know if they still are or not. I haven't checked the market on the Walking Dead cards. I don't know, but I snagged these up in some pretty reasonable auctions and have just held them to the side. And now with this bulk submission sale, it's worth it. Why not? There's 2 Glens, and that's it for that. Now, these are the Bob Ross lands, some of the Bob Ross lands that I did a recent unboxing on the channel of the Bob Ross land secret layer. So I had the foil and non-foil versions. If you want to see that unboxing, it's a pretty quick little fun video. Check that one out if you'd like. But I picked out some of my favorite lands from that set and went ahead and I'm going ahead and sending them into CGC. I actually think the CGC slabs are a little bit more preferable here for these lands, just because they're going to bring out the beauty with that crystal clear acrylic case. It's going to be nice. Really will do justice to the paintings. I think this one is probably my favorite. This one or the island with the palm tree. They're really, really nice. And this forest is okay. I'm just doing the foil version of that one. Yeah, here's the island non-foil. So you can see that just pulls you into the artwork. And there's your swamp. The mountain that still reminds me of Close Encounters of the Third Kind. Even though it's not like perfectly circular like the mountain in the film, but it's got that kind of thing going on up there. And then here's that other mountain that I like in non-foil, which it looks great in foil and non-foil. And then the last cards are those Party Hard, Shred Harder, alternate art, heavy metal themed cards, which I did an unboxing of that secret layer as well, if you want to see that experience and see my reaction to those cards too. Just learn a little bit more about them and check them out in more detail in that video. But yeah, this pretty much wraps up the test submission, so I'm very eager to send them off and to get them in their system. It's allegedly going to take, I think I mentioned it earlier, it's going to take 4 to 5 months, theoretically. But I do have a feeling that with these price hikes with PSA, there's a lot of other people that are going to be like, you know what, screw that. I'm just going to send my stuff to CGC, especially this type of more bulk appropriate cards for grading. The $20 it just doesn't make sense. It really doesn't. So here we go with CGC. I hope that they do us right here in this new world of grading insanity. So if anyone else out there is submitting their stuff to not PSA, but to CGC, good luck to you guys as well. And I will definitely be doing a reveal video of these cards when they come back, and analyzing and scrutinizing them as best I can at that time. So thanks guys, that about wraps it up. But if you liked what you saw, please give the video a thumbs up. It really helps the channel, and feel free to subscribe and join the Collector's Impact. It'd be great having you along for the ride. So thank you very much for checking out the video, and hope you have a good day.